Many dozens, some estimated hundreds, of private investigators or detectives were hired. One private investigation firm in particular stood out. According to its website, it is staffed by former CIA and FBI agents, one who still claims top security clearances. David Miscavige and his Scientology enterprise spent many millions of tax-exempt dollars in this attempt to destroy the civil rights and lives of thousands of young citizens, many of them high school or college students. This outrageous abuse of tax-exempt status continues in the United States and around the world to this very day. Scientology staff and private investigators stalked these young people as best they could. The young protesters were followed to their cars, and local law enforcement, such as the Los Angeles Police Department, were induced to engage in spurious traffic stops of some of these young people to obtain their identities, and then pass the information on to the Church of Scientology staff and private investigators. Other LAPD officers requested protesters' identification while standing beneath fixed Scientology surveillance cameras so that OSA could simultaneously read the same information. Then Latham and Watkins and other law firms used private investigators to deliver threatening cease and desist letters full of false accusations to these young patriots, their parents and employers. In this despicable manner, the mighty Latham and Watkins law firm was responsible for intimidating many of these young Americans out of their exercise of their civil rights. Reportedly, one anonymous participant was visited by a Scientology Uber attorney, Kendrick Moxon, who reportedly threatened to destroy the career of the father of this anonymous participant unless he stopped protesting against Scientology crime and abuse. Hubbard declared that those who attack Scientology are provenly suppressive. These persons can always lose their jobs. This massive and tax-exempt harassment of the anonymous movement continues as OSA tries to identify, investigate and silence these young critics. When we want someone haunted, we investigate, said Hubbard. The defense of anything is untenable. The only way to defend anything is to attack, Scientology teaches. A Scientology OSA investigation also involves invading the target's privacy. It involves telling lies. The only way you can control someone is to lie to them, wrote Hubbard. Intelligence gathering is part and parcel of Scientology investigations and litigation. According to Hubbard, intelligence gathering can include infiltration, bribery, buying information, robbery, and blackmail. The last two are, of course, illegal, said Hubbard. Scientology requires its documents evidencing illegal activity to be stored in easily transferred red boxes. Then there is black propaganda, which Scientology OSA Network Order 15 defines as a covert communication of false data intended to injure, impede, or destroy the life of another person. This overlaps with Scientology document PR Series 18, in which Church of Scientology staffers are ordered to invent whatever they wish to allege. Elsewhere, Hubbard ordered his church to manufacture enough threat against critics to cause them to sue for peace. This is part of the policy of dead agenting, or neutralizing external critics such as Anonymous. Dead agenting often involves a noisy investigation. In Scientology's Manual of Justice, it is stated, tell the detective we don't care if they know you're investigating them for us. In fact, the louder the better. Scientology punishment is gruesome to see. In fact, Scientology rewards its staff and punishes its staff according to weekly statistics, consisting of the number of cases successfully investigated and the number of derogatory news stories relating to enemies of Scientology. To many people, Scientology is synonymous with the phrase fair game. Scientology teaches that all people who oppose Scientology are criminals and suppressive persons. Under the fair game law, critics of Scientology are to be destroyed by any means possible. without punishment of the Scientologist. Scientology falsely claims it cancelled the fair game law. However, it was expressly preserved for the handling of suppressive persons. In 1980, leading Scientology executives admitted in court that the fair game law had never really been done away with. In 1990, in the Wallersheim case, Scientology argued unsuccessfully that the fair game law should be deemed a protected religious practice. For example, in the policy letter on penalties for lower conditions, it actually states, SP order, suppressive person declaration, fair game, may be deprived of property or injured by any means by any Scientologist, without any discipline of the Scientologist, may be tricked, sued or lied to or destroyed. Furthermore, a substantial number of United States court cases, some relatively recent, hold the fair game policy continues to be an underlying theme, often unspoken theme, which motivates the demonstrably despicable and often criminal behavior of the Scientology enterprise. The Church of Scientology was the first church ever convicted of criminal conduct in Canada. Recently it was convicted of fraud in France, and a major criminal prosecution is pending in Belgium. New Zealand and New South Wales in Australia have just announced criminal investigations, and an Australian federal government criminal investigation is under consideration.